Hi guys, welcome back. Number Stampin' with Faith fun video. I am Faith, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today we're going to talk about storage. Storage. Organizing things and how I manage all the clutter because I got lots of it. So let me grab my iPad so that I can see the video as well. And then I am going to start inviting people. Let's see. Let me get some friends in here with us. There we are. Share. And where are we sharing this? Post it there. I'm going to share it to a couple groups too. Because everybody needs help with storage, right? So today we are talking all about storage. All right, that's good enough for me. Okay, and I know probably in the video in the beginning you would have seen some of my clutter. So now we're going to talk about taming that, and that's exactly why I'm doing this video today. So if you are here for the first time, welcome. I am certainly glad you are here. My name is Faith. I am the owner and independent demonstrator for Stampin' with Faith. Stampin' Up demonstrator does not mean that I stamp all the time, but I wish that was the case. Today we're talking about storage. So let's get on with it. Recently I posted a photo of this guy and his twin, this guy, online in our demonstrator group. So I'm going to talk about what these are, how they came about, and how to tame some of your extra pieces and parts and how I do things. So on these containers themselves, I got them at Walmart. They are made to store cross-stitch floss. For those of us former cross-stitchers that don't have the eyes to see that anymore. So on the lid, if you will, of these boxes, I have put, let's see if I can see the comments because I'm not seeing things. There we go. On this lid, I have used just Avery label sheets, sticker sheets. When you print a label for like shipping something off of PayPal or whatever, it only prints half a sheet, so you get half left. So that's this. And I just punched. This is our modern label punch, everyday label punch. You know, just some of the punches. This is actually the rectangular stitch dies. And we'll talk about those and die storage here in a minute. So today's episode is all about storage. We're not going to make any cards. We're going to talk all about getting up off of the craft table and organizing that craft room. This box here has more of the same. I have some stitch squares, stitch circles, stitch rectangles. This all came about because I had a 12 by 12 box full of nothing but Whisper White scraps. And so I thought, okay, I've got to tame these scraps. I'm not using them. I'm not doing anything with them, all because they're too difficult to manage. So here, I'll show you what I was dealing with. This. Just a tray from a paper box that had all my scraps in it. And it was just crazy. And I'm still starting to collect some more. When you're cutting cardstock for classes and events and things, and you get all those scraps, what do you do with them? Well, this is what you do. You take your bigger pieces and punch them. Your smaller pieces and you big shot them. And the basic shapes the circles, ovals, squares, that layer, and our stitched rectangles, they work perfect for this. Very perfect for this, actually. And then when you're making your cards, you've got something ready to go to put your sentiment on. I'm looking for my Stamparatus here. Now, a few of you have said, well, what do I do when I am trying to work on something and I'm afraid I am going to mess it up and I want to stamp it first? That's where these guys come in. I've taken my black scraps, and let me find the matching counterpart to this. I believe it's this one here. It might be the bigger ones. Let's see. Let's check the bigger one. So then all I have to do, yeah, it's this one, is place this piece into my, I'm going to pull it up here and show you how it works. Get my magnets out of it. And then, ouch, they pinch when they click. So here, I will place my piece all the way up in the corner typically, but really it won't matter for this. And then now I have this opening. This opening is where my stamp will go, and I will line it up, close the door. Now every time I want to stamp, even if it's just one, I put that in there. There you go. Now you've got a perfectly stamped image every single time, and it's lined up exactly where you want it to be because you're lining up a stamp with no ink on it. So when you're stamping and you have a stamp that's inked up and you ink off of your oval and you're like, oh, I messed it up, I got to turn it over and do the other side. This prevents you from having to do that pretty much ever. So you just make your templates and put them in your Stamparatus, and then it gets you using your scraps, you're using your punches, you're using your basic shapes, and you're using your Stamparatus. After all, we paid good money for these things. We want to be able to use them. So that's how I use my Stamparatus. Now, again, if you're using a photopolymer stamp set, which is the clear ones you can see straight through with your Stamparatus, don't forget to use your Stamparatus mat. I have taken a piece of self-adhesive craft foam, like from Hobby Lobby or wherever, and what did you make the template out of? Dee, I made it out of the ovals. That particular one was a scrap of black cardstock. So, hi Josh. Mr. Boyd, how are you, my friend? And Miss Lisa, I see you too. So, I made the template using scraps. I made the Whisper White pieces that go into the template, all from using scraps. Yes, it's all pretty much, my world is revolving around scraps this week, and storage and organization and getting all of that done. So now I'm going to show you how I store my Stamparatus. Yes, we have a Stamparatus tool bag. I absolutely love it. I have it. I use it when I'm leaving the house. But if I'm not leaving the house and I have my Stamparatus on my desk, I don't want to have to unzipper that bag every time. So let me pull this bad boy out and I'll show you what I've got here. Can everybody see this? This is just one of those office sits on your desk things. I found it at a free, we have where I live, what we call free tables. I found it up there for free. Best X that holds the cut pieces. Oh, the containers are, well, thank you, Miss Barbara. I'm glad you're here too. The containers are made for cross-stitch flush, and I'll show you something that brings that idea home a little bit more. because although these containers here are newer, purchased within the last year, I do have one from when I originally got started in 1994. So I'll show you that one, and it's not paper that's in it. So you will be shocked. I'll show you that in a moment. We're getting there. I just want to put these magnets back. I have some round magnets from other projects that I've kept. Okay, so on to our next bit of storage. The Oops box. Sandy, what's the Oops box? I don't have an Oops box. Never heard of that. I'm perfect. I don't make no, just kidding. This box here is my original cross stitch floss box. It has a handle. I wish they still made them like this. This was from the 90s probably. It's yellow compared to this one, yellowish compared to the other one in color, but hey, it works. So when I open this one up, this is how I tame my extra bits and pieces of ribbon. This is ribbon. This guy right here is made for cross stitch. He's a floss bobbin winder. You can buy them probably online for next to $1 or so in the US here. So that fits in this long little section that doesn't have a little divider here. This I keep here also. It is, I don't know, it's kind of like a fabric ribbon, but it's self-adhesive. It's already got adhesive on it. I don't know where I got it or how I came across it, but it is there. So here, for example, Flirty Flamingo ruche ribbon. Put them little pieces on these. They're plastic. These are made by, I believe, DMC, the people that make cross stitch floss. And that's how I store extra bits of ribbon. Now, obviously, if you're, and I have some Baker's Twine in here, Coastal Cabana. This, I believe, is the old, it's either Melon Mambo or Strawberry Slush from back in the day that came out with Coastal Cabana. I have some ribbons in here that are for my dog and my husband. Cubs Golf and doggy stuff, baby stuff. Baker's Twine's in here. Metallics are in here. So this little box is how I store my ribbon. It's got a handle. I could take it with me to crafts and crops. I teach classes outside of my home, and I'm usually going to a class or an event at least once, if not 2 or 3 times a week. So that really, really helps. Storage for ribbon. I am going to flip the camera around for just a second because I want you to see this trough. So I know you can't see all of it because you're going to see the bottom of my setup here. I'm going to take this off for a moment. There's the trough. I bought that when Hobby Lobby changed over their, get us back on there. Hobby Lobby changed over all their decor and what items they were selling and all that kind of good stuff. So when Hobby Lobby changed over, I bought that. It was originally a like galvanized metal piece, I would say. Spray painted it gold, screwed it into the studs of the wall. And now that became a ribbon trough. So as you saw with the gold sequin trim, the edge of the trim just hangs right over. You roll out what you need, trim it off, you're done. More ribbon storage. I'm going to grab into my storage facility here since we're on the subject of ribbon. So if you've got friends and you've got other demonstrators and you think they could benefit from organizing their spaces, by all means, please send them this video. I get no commission for that. So, but here is also another way to store ribbon. Store them by, this is how I stored them before I had the trough. Get my ruler here. These measure, let me see, they measure 3 inches, 3 by 6. And then I used the handy dandy and everything at my fingertips envelope punch board here. And all I did was use the punch piece of it, and I punched the little indentations where all the ribbon would go. So this is my yellows, if I don't label them by name, which I have, but just in case. And then I have even other pieces. So now we have a small piece here. This piece, I don't even, Lost Lagoon, I think is what color this is. Retired a few years back. And I'm going to see if I can't show you my next trick. Oh, I'm full of it today. So by all means, invite your friends. What I have also done, just a piece of wood, 2x4, whatever. And I have marked it with a Sharpie down the middle and just drilled holes every 1/4 of an inch or so. So I'm going to flip you guys down so you can see my table. And I'm going to try to rely on the iPad for sight here, so you guys, make sure you guys can see. So we'll give that just a minute to catch up. Try not to zoom in too much this week. Okay, so this has those 2 pegs, and I'll lay it on its side. So what you are going to do is you're going to lay your ribbon over those 2 pegs, crossing what is your left over your right, just making a little V. Easy enough. Then you're going to cross your right only up to the middle and through the bottom, and then bring it up through the top. And then you're just going to take those 2 pieces that you have there and tie them. I'm hoping you guys can still see. Into a square knot. Slide that off of your pegs. And now you have the most absolute gorgeous teeny tiny little bow right on your card. And what that cost me was absolutely nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Free. All right, so I'm going to bring you guys back up. What do you think? Good idea? Hi, Cousin Juanita. How are you? How are you? Glad you're here. If you are here for the first time, second time, 100th time, 4 years, 5 years, however long you've been watching me, just put your name in the comments, or where you're from, wherever. I am from Illinois, for those that don't know. So when I have little tiny pieces, such as this little tiny piece of Lost Lagoon, you would think, oh, I can't do anything with that. Of course you can. So you're going to make it into this little bow, and then I have on my desk, or in my container here, all the little bows that I've made doing that with just the little scraps that you would have thought to throw away. So this is full of them. Well, hello, Miss Diane from Indianapolis. You're only a couple hours away. We need to plan a party, meet at the Beef House there in Covington, and that's about halfway for both of us, right? Oh, New York, Miss Michelle. Hello from New York. I love hearing where people are from. Avanel, you've joined me before, but welcome back again. And she is from Indiana. I love that. Love that. Love that. Now, most people already know this trick, but I'm going to show you anyway. This is how I store my chamois. Now, a lot of people do store them in these clear cases. However, your chamois comes when you get it. I have an actual unused one over here. You get it. It's this bright, pretty purple color. But as you use it and clean your ink off, it's going to get full of ink and it's going to look like this. It's not pretty anymore. So I am a person who just is attracted to things that are rainbow in color, so to speak. So I used a retired stamp set called Gorgeous Grunge, because I made this back when this chamois first came out. And I did one stamp of each color of ink all the way across for whatever we had that year. And this is when Lemon Lime Twist was still in. So this was obviously a couple years ago that I made this. And then I just cut out these letters, or electronically cut with vinyl. So that's how I store my chamois. Oh, Miss Vicki, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Miss Vicki, do you know where Salem, Arkansas is? Hardy, Williford, just over to the west of you. Cherokee Village. That's where I'm from originally. That's where I'm from originally, but now I'm in Illinois. And it's hot. It's hot. It's like 90-something degrees today. So next we're going to talk about, so we've talked all about scraps, how to use them with the Stamparatus, how to store them, where to get the storage. We've talked about ribbon pieces and where to store the leftovers, how to store the big pieces, how to even use up some of your scraps of ribbon to make them into something pretty. And maybe I'll get another cross-stitch storage box and sort out all these bows so they're sorted by color family, at least maybe, because that'll probably make me use them even more. This we're going to talk about next is my other friend, Paper Pumpkin. Paper Pumpkin. I love my Paper Pumpkin. So for those of you that are demonstrators, Paper Pumpkin is billing today. For those that didn't know, that are here in the U.S. anyway. So, ooh, Washington, Miss Donna, D.C. or state? So, Miss Vicki, when I come home to Arkansas, hopefully next summer, maybe I was supposed to go this summer, but didn't get to. So maybe we'll get together and have a stamp class. Recently, I participated, as many of you probably have, in the Paper Pumpkin Demonstrator Challenge over on the Demonstrators Paper Pumpkin page. So that's kind of why I shared this video there too. Shannon West sent me these Paper Pumpkin flyers. I will hand them out like business cards, with business cards even too. And then the other thing I got is this decal. You can't see it on the other side, but it's white and it's the Paper Pumpkin logo. It says, I love Paper Pumpkin. So I can't wait to tell my husband I'm putting that on the card today. So we're going to talk about Paper Pumpkin storage. I'm a big fan of DIY projects, if you can't tell, and figuring it out on a budget, because I want to be able to have more money for stamps, more money for inventory, that sort of thing. Paper, as you can see, all of this behind me here in these black racks, that's all cardstock back there. Oh, Donna, good morning from Washington. And I've got Sherry from Kansas. I lived in Kansas for a few years. Oh, Puget Sound from Seattle. Oh, that sounds beautiful, Donna. Beautiful. San Antonio, Texas. I've lived there too. A lot of places I haven't lived, but I was in the Air Force down there, Miss Barbara. Do you know Linda Mercer? She's a demonstrator in San Antonio. And Sue. Hi, Brian. Brian is one of my best friend down there. It's her husband, Karen's husband. I haven't seen her in a long time, though. Oh, and Arnie, my cousin. He is also from Indiana. So this we're going to talk about is my binder, Paper Pumpkin binder. This is why the flyers and that decal were in here. I got this binder for $1 at a garage sale, maybe, if that, maybe a nickel. And it's kind of almost a half sheet size. So I purchased these dividers, and I put a white label up here. Again, this is scraps, and just cut around follow the edging of the divider, and then matching the color with a marker, I just wrote the year. And inside of each one, because Paper Pumpkin is so blessed that they give us the, Oh, Lordy B. Stamp case insert every month to print out. And then on the back, if you look at the back of here, your stamp sets, it makes it easier to see what the sayings and images are. I know they're going to be backwards to you guys. Let me see if I can zoom back out a little bit. There we go. So this is what the front would look like of the stamp case if it were to come in a case. And this is the backing. And so what I have done in this binder is only for those paper pumpkins I own, because I don't have them all. Life happens. I have put them in here by year in this book. And I start always with January on top. And that's why the dividers are here. So that when I need to add, where are we at? This is July coming out today. So when July comes in, I will put July right back here behind this June one. And then these are 2018. They start with whatever month I have, which would be typically January through December. That way, if someone says in the demonstrator planning page, they said, oh, I used this sentiment from this month's set, then all I have to do is pick up my book, go to January 2016, and there it is. And I can use whatever image, say I want to recreate something. So, hello, Michelle. Yes, I agree, Donna. I could imagine Puget Sound's probably much better than the dry heat of Texas. I was in the Air Force there, and it was tough. Now, that is so far just the stamp cases, and I'll show you what I'm doing and why. Prior to that, making of the book, so to speak, I was actually using these clear mount, or the cling mount stamp cases for storing all of my paper pumpkin stamps. And as you can see, I had only printed them off in black and white. And here's my hugs from Shelly. And then it's great. And my stamp set fits right in there. And in most cases, there isn't a stamp set any bigger than this. However, I found putting them into the book makes it a lot easier, smaller footprint. Because then if I want to go to a crop and I want to take, let's say I have already done Kylie Bertucci's Love It, Chop It, and I've chopped several of my DSP pages into that 5 1/4 by 4 size, then all I need to do is grab my 2 bins of ovals, rectangles, you know, my punched out pieces. Grab my book full of my paper pumpkin stamps. I might even put that I Love Paper Pumpkin on the front of this book. That's a good idea. Grab maybe some ribbon, because that again too is here in a box, so it's easy footprint. And then grab some ink and away you go. Moving on, talking about paper pumpkin storage. What do you do with all your leftover pieces and parts? Paper pumpkin kits are so lovely. It's a great value for your money. And we always tend to get more pieces and parts than what we can use making just that month's kit. Maybe we had a stamping accident or spilled coffee or what have you. So, I have come up with a few extra ways to store them. So, remember the number of years kit that we did for Paper Pumpkin's birthday this year? These are the numbers from that kit. I haven't used them all yet because I don't like asking people how old they are. So this is my numbers. I have them on this clip with this little hook, and I'm gonna pull the camera off so I can reach around here. So ignore the mess of my room. There you go. I have this spinning rack right here. And this spinning rack also has more of those scraps, but that were the ones that were too big to fit into my little boxes over there. I have some DSP cut and ready to go in case I just need something quick. I have a few DSP scraps in here, but the rest of this is a lot of paper pumpkin scraps because I wasn't exactly sure where to store them. Those are the numbers. Butterflies in my ladies groups, butterflies are always a hit. I have some not paper pumpkin, but Project Life pieces in there. Some of the wooden elements are there. And then I have the same thing here on top, extra paper pumpkin pieces. These are the labels from some of the kits. These are the celebration pieces from one of the kits. And then it sits right here on the corner edge. I don't know if you can see that, my mess, but that corner edge of my desk, that tower sits right there. And it stands up tall enough that this bottom area usually has nothing there. So it doesn't get in the way if I am stamping something. And it takes it up off the ground. So, turn you back around. One of the things that I mentioned to someone who was asking about where to store those, these little boxes was think vertical. Don't always think, oh, that takes up space on the top of my desk. You don't have to always take up space on the top of your desk. These pieces behind me that I have my cardstock stored in, these black pieces, they're actually pieces of railing, and I zip tied them together. So these little, the little Ziploc baggies, I'm going to pull one off here if I can. I'll leave the hook. These little baggies is what I use to store things in on that Clip It Up rack. And these baggies are 3 inches by 4 inches. And this Clip It Up rack that I'm using with these clips actually was given to me by a fellow demonstrator because she had it and didn't know what to do with it, how to use it, didn't like it. It was getting in her way. I'm like, bring it on. So I'm known as the queen of pack rat craft supplies around here, if you can't tell, because I'll find a way to use it. Just give me a minute or two. All right, I'm doing another check-in. Michelle, Greensboro, North Carolina. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I have not, and I apologize, I have not gotten together the winner of my last live, which was the Sailing Home Waterfall card. I have not had a chance. I have been working, and today's my husband's birthday, so it's craziness. A lot of times the question we get asked is, what do we do with the glue dots that come in our paper pumpkin kit? I hate them. I don't like them, and we hear all kinds of things. Here's what I do. I cut them, and here's my little packet so you can see. I cut them into individual strips. When I need one, I peel off the release paper. If the glue dot comes with it, great. I just put it wherever I need it to be. If the glue dot doesn't come with it, then I just use this as if I was using the roll, and I put the glue dot to the project, and away you go. Really, really good for all these scraps of bows here to attach them to projects quickly. And then you're going to ask, well, Faith, how do you store this little piece without losing it? Easy. This is my Stampin' Up! Tool bag. They gave them out on stage. I do not ever attend on stages, so I just bought one online. So I'm going to turn this down, and so you can see my tool bag. I'll try to flip it over so you guys can see. And we're going to move some stuff out of our way. And we're going to open this up. So in here I have my Take Your Pick tool. When I'm doing a paper pumpkin project kit, I take my paper pumpkin kit and this. That's it. I don't need, well, and my chamois, of course. But I'll show you my chamois will fit in here. So this is the stylus attachment. my take your pick tool, some Wink of Stella, of course scissors. This is a kind of like a homemade Wink of Stella, but a smooch spritz kind of thing. That's a homemade. There's rubbing alcohol in it with frost white shimmer paint is in there. My bone folder, yes, I label everything. Put that in there. And then I just have my chalk marker there, fork. And you're going to ask me, okay, Faith, why in the world do you have a fork in your travel bag? Let me show you. I'm going to grab a piece of unruly ribbon over here. And remember when I showed you how to use that wooden board to make those tiny bows? Well, I'm sure you don't want to carry this bulky wooden board around just to be making bows, but you've brought your little box of ribbon. Now what? That's when, instead of using the board, you just use a fork. So you're going to cross your right over your left, bring this piece up through the top center. I'm trying to do this upside down for you guys. And this is wide ribbon, so bear with me. Turn it over and then put it through the top. And again, you're looking for this, which is your bow part. And then when you bring this back to the back, tie it in a square knot. Pull it off your fork. There you go. Wrap these around one edge of your card. Wrap this around the other edge, and no more just tying a square knot. You can actually put a loop in that square knot. All you have to do is put a fork in your toolbox. So now you'll all go to the kitchen and get forks. And I wouldn't even trim this. I would use this as a layer and wrap it around the edges of the card layer itself. So I'm going to put him in my stash box. In this zipper pouch, I have some tear and tape, 4 snail adhesives because you never want to run out. Some days I go on a marathon and I make, 5, 6, 10 cards in one evening in a 2-hour span. Some nights I'm slow and I don't. It just all depends. This is how I store the dimensionals, both bones, as I call them, the mini dimensionals and the large dimensionals. This is probably a packaging bag from Stampin' Up, or it could be one of the 3x4 bags from that pile I bought at Walmart for $1, but I store those in here. So this side becomes my adhesives. So tear and tape, snail, dimensionals, and my glue dots go in there. This side becomes pretty much everything else, and I'll show you what's in here and why it's here. This is my paper pumpkin block. I've also recently done another kit that had a smaller block to it, and usually that's in here too. Yep, there it is. This block, that came from Lots of Happy card kit. An extra pair of surgical scissors because you never know. This little guy is handy. He has a very fine grit, almost like a sandpaper on this end, and a gum eraser on this end. This end works really good for erasing adhesive. This end works really great for erasing boo-boos on white if you get a little drop of something somewhere you don't want it. That was given to me by Upline. And then, of course, my green lid glue. I just took the label off, put my name on it. I always, when I'm stamping, store my glue this way. People say that that's upside down, but I think storing it this way is upside down because I use the big end the most, because then I can spread out the glue using the tip and I don't get any of those foo-foos. squishing out, squishies. And then, of course, my corner rounder punch stays in here too as well. Gummy eraser. And then I have a few alcohol prep pads just in case I need to clean ink off a table or quickly wipe something up off a block. And then this, an empty gift card, I use with the tear and tape. So that way I'm not getting gummy all over my blocks. I'll get the gummy on the tear and tape first. So those are my tips and tricks for storage. Let me bring you guys back up. Thank you for sharing, Miss Debbie. Oh, and thank you, Susan, for inviting Stephanie. I appreciate that. Miss Debbie is watching from Michigan. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed some storage tips. We've talked about Whisper White scraps, some of our black scraps. We've talked about how to make use of those scraps with the Stamparatus. We've talked about ribbon, how to tame our ribbon stash, how to store our ribbon stash. We've talked about all of our little bows to make. We've talked about storing our chamois, storing our paper pumpkin stamps. Talked about our paper pumpkin book. And of course, we've talked about our tool caddy. So thank you, Myrna. I'm glad you liked the tips. So if you've got friends or demonstrator friends or just crafty friends in general and you think they would enjoy a few free tips here and there, by all means, share the video. If you've got questions or concerns or something up, by all means, send me a private message and I'll be happy to help. Oh, thank you, Susan. I love to share these things. And what good is it for me as a demonstrator to have all this knowledge up here and it's not coming out of here and it needs to flow out of here daily. So every day I try to teach somebody something from my business. So yes, Miss Nancy, definitely go back and watch. I don't believe it's going to be a very, very long video. Let's see. Nope, maybe 45 minutes at most. So lots and lots and lots of tips. And I could have broken that up into probably 3 or 4 videos. But you know what? Why? I love to get all that information out there. So I don't know what my day off is from my 9 to 5 next week. So I will let you guys know. So stay tuned. In the upper corners, wherever those corners may be for you, there should be a little settings gear or even the 3 little dots. Make sure you click on that and go to notifications and turn on all your notifications. Oh, look, Mr. Steinberg is joining us. So we have about 40 other ladies in here, Mr. Steinberg. This is my husband, Chad. So everybody say happy birthday, Chad. Yes, throw up those hearts. Happy birthday, Chad. And I appreciate that he supports my business enough that on his birthday, I'm in my studio doing videos for you guys. So I am going to now bow out and I am going to go make him his favorite seafood Alfredo dinner. Thank you, Miss Nancy. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go celebrate with my husband. See you later.